for Book of Experts TV.
Topics you love.
Experts you trust.
Friction-free referrals.
Tried,
tested,
Trusted.
This is Book of Experts, brought to you by salesman.me.
Hello and welcome back, Book of Experts. We are so excited to be presenting the final day of our 5-day Category of One challenge, and we have saved the very best for last. We are so excited to welcome Tobin Slaven, my good friend and business partner, on the stage to talk about what are we going to talk? We're going to talk about how to get free leads online. And so Tobin is the master at building high quality, high trust relationships with complete strangers on the internet. And that's actually, I could talk about Tobin's history and how he's helped build $20 million non-profits and many marketing campaigns. And he really is one of the most brilliant marketers I know. But what really impressed me was his heart. Tobin loves people and he loves serving the world in a bigger way. And so when I first met him, that connection, that commitment to people was what really convinced me that I wanted to throw my lot in with him. And we started not one, but 2 businesses together. So really excited to introduce you today. And we are going to talk about how to turn your personal social media profile into a highly converting sales funnel. Welcome to the stage, Tobin.
Well, hello, Caitlin. Good to see you here. I'm surprise. We're back. No, first of all, to even be for you, thank you for the introduction. That was very kind of you. We have had an amazing week. So even to share the docket with yourself, with Chris, with Renee, with Mandy, I mean, we've been getting rave reviews from the folks that have been in Air Meet, joining in on the Q&A tables. Probably the coolest thing that I've seen this week is some of you guys out there who are starting to share your homework. So I'm going to give Rusty a shout out. He shared some of the diagrams that he's been working on for his business that he learned from Renee's session. So I just think that's the coolest part of it.
She started 6 conversations based on her homework yesterday. And I will say, if you guys did your homework yesterday and you went out and you started at least 3 conversations with the intention of doing some surveys, drop it in the comments. Let us know that you did your homework so you will be entered to win today's prize drawing at the end. We want to hear how that's working for you.
Yeah, it's just really fun. And this is about moving the needle. It's not, talking for talking's sake. Yes, we've got some cool things to share with you guys, but ultimately what is going to move the needle and make a difference for you so that you can make that bigger impact. So yeah, we have a cool topic today. It's something that it's a part of what I often talk about. So usually it's starting conversations. That's been my focus, but your profiles, your profiles, you guys all have these social media profiles. Like, why not get them working for you as well? So that's what we'll talk about. We'll dig into that, sort of the what, how, and why of that.
And I want to start just a little bit wider with the context. So the 4 years of marketing really changed how I think about marketing. I've always been good at sales, but the thing that was difficult about growing a business was not feeling like I had a reliable pipeline. I didn't know how to go out and get leads. And so that's where we want to make sure that we shift into how do I go find people? How do I start these sales conversations? So Tobin, I'd love to just walk through the 4 gears, and then we'll see how that ties into and why everything's going to tie back to this profile funnel that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So the 4 gears of marketing, and by the way, for those of you who like the sort of the Easter eggs and what we're going to talk about, this is going to show up in a really unique way a little later in the presentation. And I want you to watch for it, see if you can pick that out. But the 4 gears of marketing is something that I kind of stumbled on it. And if anyone has worked in the digital marketing space, you felt this pain because there are a lot of people, and I'm not casting stones, but there are a lot of people out there who are talking about, building funnels, making money while you sleep, paid traffic into a funnel, all of us, every single one of us, if you could pay $1 and someone would hand you a $5 back, you'd say, yes, thank you. How many times can we do this? How quickly can we do this? Like, that's a no-brainer. And that's what they're selling. And I bought into that as a digital marketer as well. And to be honest, I've had some campaigns that were a lot of fun because we saw exactly that. And you just saw the numbers ratcheting up. It looked like a slot machine. But I've also had a bunch of experiences where it caved in and I was paying the $5 and not even getting the dollar back. And that felt like a kick in the pants. So here's what the 4 gears of marketing are. Fourth gear is the funnels. It's the automation. We call it clicks. You'll see why in just a moment. But we call it clicks because it's all about the one-to-many, building some kind of leverage marketing system that's going to backstop you and work for you even when you are sleeping. And the problem is that most entrepreneurs are trying to start, they're trying to get up and running with fourth gear. Now, you and I both know if your car is in the parking lot and you shift into fourth gear, you're going to stall that car. You're not going to get out of the parking lot in fourth gear. And so that's where all this, it's not your fault, right? Someone just didn't give you the right driving lessons. This was my experience. I made that mistake. I'm making fun of myself here. So when we developed the 4 years of marketing, it was really look at what is working best and what is the right strategy at the right time. So fourth gear, it is funnels, it's automation. You can do chat bots and you can do, list building, email. And that was my background, by the way, email list building and big campaigns, push send it out to thousands of people, get big responses. But if I had a gun put to my head today and I had to go make something happen, that's what I'm going to share with you. This 4 gears of marketing, I would start in first gear. And that's where we create one-to-one, personalized, human-to-human, I would say heart-to-heart centered communication, conversations with other people. So it's conversations in first gear. Second gear, we shift into content, which I used to run a content marketing agency. So I know that world very well. And I tried to make that my primary thing, but it works so much better when you do first gear first and then shift into content marketing. You can do a lot less work and get much better results. It's like 80-20, do 20% of the work, but get the—
And all that content should be pushing back down to gear number 1. So every time you write an article or you publish a video, it should have a call to action that invites people to have a conversation with you.
Both ways, 100%. I agree with what you just said, but here's the amazing thing. This is like one of the secret sauces that we talk about in our paid trainings. When you do second gear the right way, the conversations in first gear will tell you what kind of content you should create, and you only create that. And secondly, by the time when you post that content, you will have better conversations, meaning you can more efficiently move it through a conversation and make that turn into a sales conversation. You can go friendly chat into a sales conversation by having the right kind of content, not just content for being seen. That idea of spreading seeds, to plant seeds everywhere, you can't keep up with that game. You can never win that game.
Yeah, I was just talking to a client who's a coach, and we were talking about how when you're having these coaching conversations with her clients and they're having breakthroughs, turn that into your content. Share what was their story, where were they stuck, what was their pain points, and then we had this breakthrough, and here's how we did it, and here's the end result that we had. So almost every single coaching or consulting opportunity, or if you're a vendor and you're a done-for-you service provider, every single client has a case study that you can share. You should be leveraging that content that you're receiving in the work that you're doing and just broadcast it as your gear 2, which will then invite more people who are like that ideal client that you already love and are working with to come and pull them out of the woodwork so that they want to work with you as well.
Yeah, it's I would say almost it's the way you just described it. That's common sense. Everybody would be like, of course, that's what we should be doing. But this approach to second gear content marketing is counterintuitive to how it's being taught and shared in most other programs out there. At least that was my experience. And then third gear is what we do at Book of Experts. It's collaborations. So it's conversations, content, collaborations, so you can eventually build that automated, funnel, all that fun stuff. And, just going back to the car analogy, you drive out of the parking lot in first gear, you use second gear to go down the side street. Third gear, you can really start to rev that engine as you go up the on-ramp. Life is good in fourth gear, right? The wind's in your hair, the top is down, you're listening to the tunes on the highway. We all want that. but you got to get out of the parking lot first.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in terms of third gear, give us some examples of what third gear collaboration might look like.
Yeah. So interestingly, strategy wise, or even tactic wise, what you're going to do in third gear is very similar to what you do in first gear, which is you're going to develop real relationships with people. Because third gear, when you have strategic partners, sometimes called joint ventures, you have to have a lot of trust. You have to build up that. It's got to be a win, win, and a win all the way across. People are not going to invite you into their community or their sacred space with their clients and customers if all you're doing is giving them a piece of the action, because the relationship they have with their people is way more valuable. So you really have to build up that heart-to-heart connection, that trust with someone. And so you use a lot of the same strategies. And then when you're ideally, you want to find people who are talking to, or they have the ear and the trust of exactly the kind of folks that you want to work with. And the interesting thing is, if you have a really good first gear, if you're doing that really well, you've learned a bunch of things that you put into your second gear content, you become way more attractive to your third gear partners. And when you have all three of those, then fourth gear is easy, because you've done all the testing, you know what's working, and you're just doubling down, you're betting down on what's already winning and not testing in fourth gear.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Fourth gear is a very expensive way to do market research.
Yes.
You do not
painfully
you don't want to pay Facebook to tell you what your market wants and needs. All right. Well, then let's dive into the social media profile and walk us through what makes a compelling profile. How should we be setting these up?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to share with you is to think about your social media profiles. And this is, by the way, not normally how folks are. It's not how we were taught to think about them, because every one of these applications, platforms, social media platforms that you signed up for, they walked you through, when you first signed up, they walked you through steps that, for example, I'm just going to cut to the chase. LinkedIn. When you first signed up for LinkedIn, they treated it was a big resume engine. So they asked about your work history, who have you worked for, where, how long were you there, who are your coworkers? It was built as a big resume engine. And so people have treated their profiles as resume engines as a resume platform for a long time. And so they've made their profiles all about them, but we make them about ourselves. And ultimately, that flatters our egos if we do it well, if we dress it up in a nice way, but it will not serve the purpose that you want, because all of this is digital real estate. That's what I want to, the big idea I want to convey with you today is, you have digital real estate that's not yet developed. It's like a field, but it's at a great intersection. You know that the traffic is coming. So now is the time to start developing and putting things in place and making these shifts. It does not matter if it's LinkedIn or Facebook or any other digital platform you choose. You have a profile, and you can turn your profile, and there are minor tweaks for each platform that are slightly different. I'll show you a couple later in our conversation. But you want to turn that into a sales funnel that works 24/7 for you. And you do that by making it about the person that's going to come visit you, the people that you make your best impact. You make your profile about them, and they will move through this funnel for you, even when you're sleeping. But if you make it about you, they come in, they look for a few seconds, and they bounce.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, walk us through the elements of what should this look like. Is it our picture? Is it our headline? When do we start talking about ourselves? When should we talk about them? So should we start with LinkedIn or Facebook, or where do you want to start? Yeah,
so I promise I'm going to show you some actual examples. We'll pull up, we'll do probably LinkedIn first. Then we'll look at, I'll show an example on Facebook.
I think Laura Gilpin is actually watching us. So Laura, we're going to do your profile on.
Yeah. Laura, I told her I was going to try to work her in here. If we can. Laura has a really unique use case that I want you guys to see. A lot of people will benefit from this. But before we do that, I need to sort of lay some groundwork of what happens to the person who lands on your profile. Because we're going to get in their head. We're going to join the conversation that's already going in their head. Again, remember, most folks are doing their profiles with the conversation in our heads. We're going to join their conversation, and it looks something like this. So I put on the screen a graphic, which is the traditional marketing funnel, except it's abbreviated. And I do this just because I'm weird and I think it's fun. But the top of the funnel, we call TOFU. TOFU, TOFU. That stands for top of the funnel. Then in the middle, it's the middle of the funnel, and of course, bottom of the funnel. And here's why this matters. Your profile, as you set up your profile funnel, you need to walk people through these same stages of what's going on in their head. So the first stage, oops, let me get on the right tab. Here we go. The first stage is awareness, right? This is your widest audience, most general. They're also the least ready to convert. So if you go and try to have sales conversations when people are just entering your sales funnel, your marketing funnel here, you are going to, it's like banging your head against the wall. You're going to get lousy results. You're going to think that you're terrible, and it's actually just the wrong, it's the right conversation at the wrong time. It's just not when you should be, they're just trying to understand who you are. They're trying to answer the questions like, why should I even care? Why am I here? Am I in the right place? That's what's going on for them at that point. The next level is the consideration stage. This is where you start to go from that wide audience to a more targeted. You're starting to engage your kind of people actually you should be talking to. They're seeing information and they're self-selecting in or out. And that's a good thing, by the way. If you repel the people you should not and don't want to work with, you've saved yourself a lot of time, pain, and probably money as well. This graphic talks about a buyer persona. I like real people. I'm not a big fan of personas, but these are your people. And this is where they go from prospect, from actually being a lead, like just a name and contact information, to they become a prospect. They're showing a little bit of initiative to want to learn more. They're moving through your funnel. And by the way, I'm going to show you each of this top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. There are certain parts of your social profiles. We'll look at LinkedIn first that match up with these parts of the funnel. We'll talk about what they are specifically in a moment. And then the bottom of the funnel that's where your call to action. That's the decision stage. This is where the audience has really narrowed down. They're a marketing qualified lead or even a sales qualified lead, which means they're ready to have that buying conversation if you are, right? And just for some folks out there who want to keeping score after the purchase, this is part of the conversation too, because your clients, your customers, they're going to continue to engage with you. They become part of those collaborations, third gear collaborations that we talked about before. There's a relationship, there's word of mouth marketing, all that. So that's part of the marketing funnel. I'm not ignoring that, but does that make sense? Did I sort of hit the highlights there that before we get into?
Yeah, like we went really broad is kind of what I'm thinking is like, if you don't understand marketing, ta-da, here's how marketing works, right? So you have to bring them in. So I'm really curious to see how this translates into, because I can totally see how we do this on a sales page. And now most of you as business owners have built a sales page. So now I'm really curious, how does this translate into a profile?
Yeah, so I just brought up my profile just as one example. This is one we'll look at, but obviously it's the one I'm most familiar with. When we talk about the top of the funnel, there's a couple aspects that are really important here. The most important one, the single most important one, is actually going to be your headline. Okay. And I'm highlighting that for you guys that are watching on the screen so you can see what we refer to. I'm calling it a headline. Some people refer to this as your title field, because if you work in a professional space, you will see people use words like, I'm the head developer at such and such a company. They're almost exclusively using this space as just the title and the company. But the reason why this matters is if you look over here on the side channel, LinkedIn is showing me, here's some people you may know. This is based on other contacts I have, right? These are not folks I'm not connected with yet. But in each case, you're seeing a little snippet of their headline here, right? Ex-director of Beyond Tribute, content producer, digital entrepreneur. That's why this space is so important, because your goal with your headline and a couple of the other elements we'll talk about in a moment, your top of the funnel elements, you have one goal, one game, and that game is to stop the scroll. Earlier this week, Chris talked about the attention span of goldfish and said, we have like 8 seconds. I don't believe it's even 8 seconds. I think it's like 1.5. Like people bounce all the time. And your goal is to get something here, not clickbait, but something that piques their interest, does not sell, but piques their interest a little bit, that they'll actually say, oh, that's kind of interesting. And you'll convince them that it's worth taking a few extra seconds to dig deeper.
Yeah, and I think that's really important is you have like 2 or 3, maybe 4 seconds to earn the right to have another 30 seconds. And then that 30 seconds earns you the right to have another 2 minutes, right? So each stage, so as you're thinking about moving people through this thing, it's just, what can I do in 2 to 4 seconds that's going to capture their attention and buy me a few more seconds of scrolling? And then that's going to buy me a few more minutes of scrolling. And that's going to eventually buy me that 60-minute sales conversation where, yes, it's because time is the most valuable commodity, right? Attention is a resource and it is very scarce, and people are spending it on companies that are better wired for addiction methodologies than you are. And so you just have to recognize that no matter how good you are, no matter how good you are as an expert, no matter how amazing your programs, no matter how fantastic the thing that you're delivering is, you haven't earned the right to their time and attention. So you need to make sure that you have that mentality, like, I'm not entitled to have their time and attention. I need to earn it. And so every piece of this profile that Tobin's going to walk through is its own little piece of the sales funnel.
Yeah, you don't give yourself enough credit on the marketing side. I know you're really, really good, one of the world's best on the sales side, but what you just described of earning the right to continue is exactly what the best digital marketers out there are. They're thinking in sequences, and they're just trying to win each sequence at a time and earn that right to move to the next. So they might buy a video that has nothing to do with the sales side of things, but it's just entering into the world. It's that awareness stage. So 100%, that's a great addition there. Going back to the profile. So the other things that we talk about with the top of the funnel are the graphics, obviously, just because they're so visible. So one thing you can do on LinkedIn is you can use a custom banner. I'm using a blue one here with the 2 logos. I'm not being really fancy. To be honest, Caitlin, yours is actually better because you have a great image of you speaking at Harvard. And that's a way in an image format to actually convey some authority. You're standing at a lectern. I think if I remember right, the Harvard logo is there. So that's a great use of an image. You don't want to be too busy. This is kind of your billboard, but you're not trying to put too much information there. You're just trying to do a little clean. In my case, I'm just going for clean branding. That was the only thing. The other thing is your face shot, your headshot image, your avatar image. In the past on LinkedIn, we saw an awful lot of the professional headshots, jackets and ties, perfect hair.
Tuxedos, if you're a high ticket closer.
Yes, a little bit of that as well. Because of the pandemic, we've seen a real almost pushback on some of that, and a lot of viral conversations about, like, the picture of me, I have a beard in that picture and I'm wearing a t-shirt. It was a warm day in Florida, right? So it's not the fanciest picture, but I use this one. By the way, I use this image on every single social media profile. You'll see it on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you find me. I'm using the same image, and that's intentional as well. People who have known me for a while will know that for years I used a caricature there on every social media platform. I treat that image almost like a logo or a brand, because people will start to associate. So you can change up those images, but just think about, you might also be confusing some people who are looking for you because they found you on Facebook and now they're looking you up on LinkedIn, for example. So all this is top of the funnel. Headline, images. You notice that this little here, I'm using a colored thumbnail here for Book of Experts. That's important. Sometimes you'll see people with a gray one because they named their business, but is it a real business? Does it actually exist? It's not associated with a LinkedIn page. Like, all these little things sort of contribute to that half a second gut reaction, that first impression that you're making on someone. It matters. First impressions matter because we are so busy and we're meeting so many people. The last part of the top of the funnel that I just want to highlight is this about section. And I want you guys to notice how you're only seeing a couple lines. There's a space in between and it says see more, right? Most people never click that. To read the full, all that matters is the first 2 or 3 lines of your about section. Because if you're not good and strong and relevant in those first 2 or 3 lines, no one will ever see unless they're really middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and they're scrutinizing you closely. But that's why this falls in the top of the funnel. I'm just trying to, in this case, I'm talking about busy expert-based business owners, right? So is that you? Like, that's who I want to talk to, right? That group of people. So I'm calling them out. And if you're not one of those people, then maybe we're not right for the conversation today, right? So I'm trying to repel the wrong and attract the right so that we can have that deeper conversation. Caitlin, I'm going to check over it. One thing I'd be curious about, do you guys have questions, particularly about the headline? Because I can explain a little bit about what I'm doing there and why, if that's useful. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on it if it's not needed. If you guys are following me of what we're trying to do in that space, you can just throw your questions in chat. By the way, if you're watching us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, you can do it in chat, in the comments. I mean, if you're in our group in AirMeet, you should come join us in AirMeet because we're actually going to do Q&A tables after the event. So I'll make sure that we get a link. I'll do that right now, actually. Let me throw that link.
I know I was going to go look at AirMeet to see if we had any comments. I'm supposed to be hosting today.
So I just threw that link for folks that want to join us in AirMeet. That's where we're doing our virtual event. And we're going to have tables laid out. You guys can come and join and we'll talk about this more. Let me give you, just so we don't wait up on it, let me give you the very brief, very quick version of this. So there's a couple things that I like to do with my LinkedIn profile. One of them is I do use titles. I used to not do this. I actually used a different formula in the past, and I'll show you an example of that in a moment. But what I'm finding is the decision makers that I want to connect with, the business owners, they're pretty used to looking for a title there because they want to talk to other business owners, other decision makers. So that's why you're seeing co-founder and partner. It's just part of the attraction and the repelling that I'm working on. The second thing I'm doing is I'm calling out a couple pieces of work that are important to me. One is the 4 Gears of Marketing that you just heard about. The second one is the book that we have coming out. So Experts Never Chase. So those are 2 important sort of, I would say, authority building, but also it's proprietary information, right? It's something that I can hang my hat on that most people can't. So that's unique. And I think it's for the right people, it will be a worthy conversation. Let me show you.
Tobin, sorry, we do have a question from Sylvia.
Yep.
She says, how should we think about searchability in terms of our LinkedIn headline and profile substance?
Yeah, so I'm actually not a big fan of trying to optimize LinkedIn for search. And I know this is like, what's the word? Like heretical thing to say, right? Like, here's a LinkedIn guy. That's a lot of people think of me that way. Here's a LinkedIn guy saying, don't even pay attention to that. But here's the truth. My experience is that when we optimized for search, all we did was get a lot more people that were finding us in search because we hit we were matching up with the criteria of what they were looking for because they were selling their stuff, and I wasn't getting the inquiries. There are better places to go to optimize to be found by the people. In fact, we're going to show you one shortly. I promise. It's really cool, actually. But this is just not going to be the best use of your time. You can do that if you want, but it's not going to serve you as much as some of these other things that we're talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Nancy, I did see your question, but I think so it's talking about if you're a solopreneur, should we be owners? Should we be founders? Should we be presidents, like CEOs? Do you have a preference on that side, Tobin?
Well, I think, first of all, I think that's a great question because this goes back to what you talked about yesterday, Caitlin. When you are conversing, when you're doing those sales surveys, when you're just having conversations with your people, your kind of people that you want to do business with, you will notice the words and phrasing that they use. And I highly encourage you to adopt that in all your marketing and in copy and website and profiles, because it's going to be more relevant to that group of people. So you are right. Your gut instincts are right, Nancy, that there is one of them that is going to be, or several of them that you can limit to that will be more relevant for the people you want to work with. I don't know what the right answer is for you. The best answer is going to come from the people that are going to enroll with you, your clients. Yeah, we can figure that out with asking some questions and just doing a little bit of the sales survey process. You'll figure this out. But yes, you like, for me, co-founder and partner, those are I'm not talking CEO, I'm not talking COO or any of those corporate. It's a different conversation. So yeah. I wanted to show you guys a couple other examples.
I think we've probably got time to do one. Do you want to do Laura's?
Yeah. So we are tight on time, aren't we? All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to buzz through this really fast on my profile, and then we're going to get to Laura as quick as we can, because that's Laura has something different in her profile that I want you guys to see. Top of the funnel we covered. Middle of the funnel. This 4 years of marketing that we talked about at the outset. This is really important here, that you're seeing a big, bold graphic. This is what you call your featured area. They used to call it the rich media. You can have videos. You can have, this one is actually an article on LinkedIn. Really important, because this is a core piece of content. Most of the conversations that I have with people, I want them to go into the conversation already understanding this, if I can, because I can have a way better conversation. So see how we've moved into the middle of the funnel. If we've stopped the scroll, now I can have better conversations by really, some people like the word indoctrinate, but it's really educate. It's maybe even edutain the people in a way that they start to get to know you, and they can decide whether you might be their kind of person. The call to action, I'm going to give you one hint on this one. Usually it shows up in the about section at the bottom. It could also be in the rich media. Here's what you don't want to do. Don't make this mistake, because I've seen some of you guys doing this. Stop putting, here's my calendar link, book a time with me. And some of you guys are going, what? That's like, I want business. I get it. The minute you put your link there that says anybody in the world can get on your calendar, they can steal your time, whether they're qualified or not, you just telegraph to the world that you're not busy and you're not that valuable. And I don't think that's what you want to say to them. So a better way to handle that is, if you think that you'd like a little bit more information here, this is where I want you to go, so I can get to know you, because I invest my time in the people where I can make the biggest impact, right? So it might be an assessment. It might be, in my case, I often just want to chat with them. Like, we'll go back and forth, and very quickly I'll say, yeah, this is really not a fit, but I know someone who would be great for you. Or, no, this is perfect. Let me share some more information. But somehow you need a process to qualify. And if you put information out there that anybody can get on your calendar, it's actually counterproductive. Here's what I wanted to show you very quickly. So I'm going to show you. So Andy Foote is I love following Andy, because he has linked insights. He's a big LinkedIn guru. But notice what he's doing with his headline. He's actually no title, no company name, because it's his company, right? He just says reassuringly expensive LinkedIn brand enhancer. For the right people, that is a magnet. That's a supersized magnet. They're going to run to him, and for the wrong people, they're going to run away from him. Really well done. So this is an example of a more of a headline, like billboard kind of approach. And let me also show you. So Joshua is also a really well-known LinkedIn trainer, engagement. He's a authority in this space, and he's actually he's teaching in his headline. He says, I help X to achieve Y so they can do Z, right? And he's showing people, this is an example of what you can do in your headline. And you'll see a ton of people. Anytime you see coaches out there are a ton of coaches that use, I help this group of people. That's how they're starting their headline, right? So there's variations here. There's not one right way or wrong way. The last thing I want to show you is, you guys probably, some of you keeping score at home, you probably notice I'm doing this weird thing with my name. Profiles are meant to be tested. They're sales funnel. You do not do your profile once and walk away and don't touch it for 6 months, like a lot of people do their websites. I'm constantly changing things. Right now, this is one of the things I'm testing. It's worth doing that, because you'll see what works. And this is, I was kind of playing, I like the look of it, but there's actually a functional reason why I'm doing this, which we won't get into right now. Let me jump over to Laura, because this is an important one to talk about. Now, Laura has a different kind of profile for this reason. She is part of a team. We actually, so one of the things that we do at SalesMap, we work with our clients as they're building their sales team. So Laura just got matched up with one of our clients and is actually in a sales role with the organization. And this is a question that comes up a lot. What if I'm not the business owner? What if I'm not the owner of the business? How do I position? How do I talk about this? I want to point out several things that Laura is doing really well here, and then very quickly, a couple suggestions for her. So the first one is, look how well Laura is doing with her visuals. Nice, smiling face, almost mischievous face, which kind of drew me in, right? She's not doing the professional headshot. It's almost artistic. Like, Laura, I don't know if you did modeling or did, you were an actor or actress at some point, but it's that kind of headshot. And so it looks very media savvy. Love that. And then she's got the branding. She's joined the Once Upon an RFP team. And so she's got that branding right up top. It says it. There's no guesswork about that. So really well done. She's matched up with the LinkedIn team. Again, it's a credibility factor that there's an actual business associated here. Here's the headline, right? I love this. She's using the title and she's talking about what they do. The only word that I might suggest you change here, Laura, is actually the word support. And the reason why I say that is I know that's part of what you do, but you do so much more. So sales is not always the right. We can talk a little bit more about how we can change this, but sometimes it's business development. Sometimes it's opportunities. I mean, ultimately, these folks that Once Upon an RFP works with, it's found money for them. They are missing out. They don't have the systems in place to get all these RFPs that they want. And there's literally, big government contracts that they miss out on because they don't have Laura and Karen and the whole team in their corner. So it's a really fun conversation to have. And I think there's a way to capture that found money aspect a little bit more in the headline. Other than that, I think you're doing a great job there. Your number of connections, see how it says 34 right now? This is a newer profile. My guess is Laura hasn't focused as much, knowing a little of her background, hasn't been as focused on LinkedIn. This stops counting at 500. For each of you out there, your goal should be to get to at least 500, because you just want to show that you're sort of at that level. If you have 50,000, it's not going to show 50,000, but it stands out a little bit that it's not 500. So that should be a goal as you're doing your outreach. Make those connections, Laura. We've got a whole team of folks on our end that want to connect with you as well. And then the last thing I'll just point out is the activity is, being visible, engaging with others. That's a big way of you starting the conversations, people seeing you, because when if you have a premium profile, I'll have to get back to, so for mine, you can see the little tag. When you have LinkedIn Premium or Sales Navigator, you actually get a bunch of information about who's been looking at your profile. I know it's a lot. That was like the fire hose version. Sorry about that. But they were good questions that I wanted to get out there.
Yeah, I love this. And I want to also talk about the Book of Experts directory, because your guys' homework is going to be setting up your profile in Book of Experts, because this is where you can get found, and you really can. We can take all of this knowledge that Tobin has about how to turn profiles into sales, and we've put it into this toolbox for you. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how to become a premium member and what that includes. But for all of you guys listening, if you are an expert, you are an online service provider who stands out in the marketplace, and you've gone through your homework and you've really been able to differentiate, we want to see that put into practice. So I want you to go to bookofexperts.com. And Tobin, I don't know how we can share this, but walk through. So in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say log in. You're all going to log in.
I'll actually show it. Let's put it up on the screen. Here we go. I am logged in right now on this. So you can see up here, normally it would say log in. We will add the join button. But right now we just launched our newest version of Book of Experts. So we're really focused on serving the people that are already in there right now and getting a few bugs worked out. But that's click the login button, even if you're brand new, because you'll be able to fill out your information. You won't, your profile won't be immediately live. I'll take a look, I'll approve you. You'll get in there, but we do have a check there so we can actually get to know you a little bit. Once you are in Book of Experts and I'm logged in, I'm actually going to go directly to my dashboard. And this is what's new. Some of you out there have been with us for a little while, meaning you've been in Book of Experts, the LinkedIn community. Maybe you even had your directory listing, but you probably haven't seen this, which is the back end. We've created a whole dashboard for you with analytics, how many people have been looked at your profile or even seen you in searches. Who's actually looked at your profile. We have a score. We're doing referrals now. You can see there's a whole referral center with referrals sent, introductions sent and received both ways. There's messaging here now so that you can actually do messaging back and forth. What I wanted to show you was an example of, because these profile funnels that we're talking about today, you can do them on LinkedIn, you can do them on Facebook, or here's an example of what mine look like on Book of Experts. So you can see we've got an introduction video that will be there for the premium members, right? Here's some actual details about I'm using Book of Experts as one of my offers. We allow you to create a value ladder. You could have up to 5 of these offers so people can understand how they might be able to enter your world and work with you, right? You might have a high-end signature program and you might have a lead magnet or an assessment. You can actually list both of those because they're both 2 different ways that people can get to know you and work with you. And you're seeing a bunch of other information that, we'll do more on this, more demos on this, but people that are willing to refer you and who you're willing to refer, that referral circle concept, that's a big part of what we're doing, because every week we're actively engaged in a process to make that happen for you. That's why you want to learn more about what we're doing at Book of Experts.
Yeah. And I will say, when you're setting up your profile, it'll have you say, set up your first offer. Now you're going to do your low end, your free, low end, mid, and then high end. We'd strongly encourage you to start with that middle offer, that core offer, because the way that the directory works, and this is a lot of directories, but I know how our directory works, right? It's search engine optimized. And so we want you to differentiate, and we want your first featured offer to be the one that is most unique to you. So a lot of coaches, consultants, and online business providers are like, let's start with a discovery call. And if you're just scrolling through all the frees and it's like discovery call, strategy session, discovery call, right? It all sort of kind of blurs together. So we want your core offer to be featured there. So you can really say, this is the thing that I do using our methodology that we've been teaching you this week. This is the thing I do for whom, solving this pain point with this desired outcome, so that you can, right, always using our methodology, so that you can explain to them, look at me doing it now, right? so that they can figure out what you do. And if you're the person that they want to go to, you also get to choose some areas of expertise. So Tobin, do you mind pulling up the homepage again at the bottom? Because we get this question a lot, which is just, well, who can be on Book of Experts? So you might be watching us and you're like, I know, Caitlin, you talked about the coaches and the consultants, but I'm not a coach or a consultant. Not a problem. We really are looking for people who are thought leaders, who are doing something that is not commoditized in the marketplace. That's really what we're looking for. And if you scroll to the bottom of our homepage, it lists, how many do we have, like 60?
I believe there's 60 categories currently, yeah.
60 categories. So we have accounting and financials, advertising, paid traffic, agency growth, authors and book marketing, branding, PR, right? So find the categories and then choose up to 3 of them that you get to claim, so that when people are coming to our website, they can find you, which really is the first goal of being on Book of Experts. So there's really 3 benefits to becoming a premium member of Book of Experts. And the first one is that we want you to get found. So we are the go-to place for people who are looking for experts. So if somebody needs to fill a summit or a panel or a podcast, or they're writing articles or magazines or newsletters, we are serving up you guys as high quality content creators on this silver search engine optimized platter. So really, if you are looking for more publicity, more visibility, you want people to be able to find you, we strongly encourage you to come in and join us as our Book of Experts member.
I like to think of it as a Wikipedia of experts. So we've all seen there's tons of coaches, consultants, agency owners, authors, speakers. like real thought leaders in their space, but it's not all that information. I guess you can call Google one, but that Google's too big, right? We want to collect it in one space, and not only the people, but how you can actually, what it would look like to work with them. We think that's super interesting. Hopefully you find that too.
Absolutely. And it's so funny. I just saw comments. Laura and Amanda's like, Laura's like, do you think it's worth buying premium? And Amanda's like, yes, but I think Laura was talking about premium on LinkedIn. I think Amanda was talking about premium on Book of Experts. I don't know if buying premium on LinkedIn is worthwhile, but I'm definitely sure that buying premium on Book of Experts is worthwhile.
So here's the interesting thing. If you guys are with us in AirMeet, we're going to go do Q&A tables. I'll answer that question there because we deal with this a lot. The question comes up. I can share the ins and outs. There's never one right or wrong answer. It's really what is going to serve you best. And we can talk about premium in Book of Experts, and we can talk about premium in LinkedIn. Let's figure out what will serve you. That's what really matters.
Yeah. And I mean, we have so many things that you're going to get as a premium member of Book of Experts. And I can definitely talk more about the features and kind of highlight them. But I really want to explain why we want you to join us today. So we have a couple of really yummy bonuses that we've been hinting at through the week. So the first one that we're giving away is we have 2 gifts that are limited to just the first 10 members. And the first one is going to be Tobin Slaven's LinkedIn profile audit. So because Tobin is crazy busy and starting a business from, we're going like mad, we're only giving away 10 of these. So if you want Tobin to review your LinkedIn profile and give you feedback on the graphics and the headline and how to use all of your real estate the best possible way and help you develop that real estate into a high converting sales funnel, if you decide to join Book of Experts, that's what you're going to do. And I'm realizing we haven't given you a way to join Book of Experts, so I need to go pull up our link. Tobin, I don't know if you have it handy, but how they can join us as a premium member. But then, do you?
I do. I'll let me grab it. I have it in a list.
But I was going to say, we also have a premium member who donated his time. So he is an intertechnology expert. Rusty, I just realized I don't know how to pronounce Rusty's last name. Gillard? It looks French. Rusty, forgive me. I'm sorry I did not clarify that before we got on today's presentation. But Rusty is giving away a strategy session to help you figure out how to reorganize your life so that you get 5 more hours in a week. So you add that up. That's just a lot of hours. That's like 20 more hours a month. That's like a whole nother day every single month that you're going to find it's more than a day. I can't do math on the fly. You're going to get all your time back. So that's the other thing. So if you're one of those first 10 members, you get to choose between those first 2 goodies. And then if you decide to join us by midnight tonight, I'm on the West Coast, so we'll give you until the West Coast Pacific. Midnight tonight, you're going to get the Tobin's Fill Your Pipeline Online strategy. So he had a 60-day course kind of challenge, and we boiled that down into 5 amazing hours of just how to turn the internet into your ATM machine. So you're going to get to go out there and figure out how to get these leads for free online and drive them back to the profile. And he goes into depth about how to set up your profile in there as well. You will also be getting my sales treasure chest. So everything that I've ever done on sales, my 90-minute sales training, my personality-based sales the buyer personality training, my book called Sell with Heart, you'll get a copy of that, and the script that I personally used to close $2.5 million in coaching services last year, you will get that as part of the offer. So those will be given access to you if you decide to join us by midnight. And if you're a slowpoke and you just get on it today, on Monday, the price is going up. So right now it's only $970 for the entire year. And the beautiful thing is that if you join us now, you get to lock in that rate for as long as you stay with us. So when everybody else is paying thousands and thousands of dollars to be in Book of Experts, you're going to still get to lock in that $970 rate. So strongly encourage you guys to go to, do we have the link, Tobin?
So I started to share that, Caitlin, and then I was thinking, a lot of these folks are probably talking to our ambassadors. So I think what I would do before you jump on our main link, talk to the person who invited you. We are still invitation only, and it's really important. We want to get to know you. We're looking for people that are making an impact in the world. So the best thing you can do, listen, if you're not talking to someone, I'm ready. I'm happy to connect you with whatever information you need. But a lot of you have ambassadors who want to be your champion. They want to be your advocate. They found you for a reason. Have that conversation with them, and they'll make sure you get the right link.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to share real quick, Caitlin, I'm going to bring this up on screen for a minute, because I think the bonuses are amazing. Like, I want to go do Rusty's program. To be able to get 5 hours back every week, that would be so valuable right now with everything going on. I wanted to share this. Let's go a little bit larger. So I've been keeping some information, sort of making some notes that we've been hearing from our members. This is what Jason said the other day. Well worth the investment for anyone thinking about it. I got the value of my membership within a week, and I still have the entire year to go and get more, right? And Kat, who also did our workshop Wednesday, I think it was this week. Busy week, wow. She said it was phenomenal. What Caitlin and Tobin have set up is something I've never seen before. And by the way, that might be the statement I'm most proud of, because I know Kat and I know how much she is doing in her business. So if she hasn't seen it before, that made my heart sing. Said the biggest benefit is being able to get your message in front of a group of people who eagerly want to support you in your business. So I think, to me, there's a bunch of these. Like, I can scroll down and show you. Like, we've got all kinds of information coming in from our members, but I just wanted to show you, why we think this is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, Tobin, if we can give them the link, just in case you don't have an assigned ambassador, I want them to have a way to go to it. And if you have been working with an ambassador, yes, we definitely want you to use that one, because one of the benefits you'll have is that if you decide that you love Book of Experts as well and you want to share that, you also get 20% for sharing the love with other people, because we really want to say thank you to you guys when you tell other people about us. So it is really important to use the link that was sent to you. And if you don't, Tobin threw it in there. So we've got that for you. And I think we're going to move over into AirMeet to have some Q&A. So Tobin and I will be at different tables, and we can talk about LinkedIn and your headlines. And I know we had a couple of questions. Sylvia had a couple, and David, I think, was having some troubleshooting setting up his free account. So we can talk through all of that with you guys at the tables. Sound good?
Sounds good. Yeah, it's new. We've been building as we've been launching this week, David. So we'll figure out what that is. I know you're good because I was in the admin side, so I know you're approved on that end. But we'll figure out what's going on. So
cool.
Super. We'll see you guys over at the Q&A tables. Make sure you join us. I'm going to do that AirMeet link one more time, because I know there's some folks. Sometimes it's hard to find the comments when you've been listening. Let's get it in the right place. I'll stick it in one last time, and then we will wrap up.
I also realized I was supposed to do my raffle today, but I don't know that I got everybody's names. So I'm going to do one more head count when I get into AirMeet, and we'll go ahead and run that raffle and send somebody good news about the Echo Dot that we're going to raffle off. So just, if you haven't already done so, let us know. I'm here and I did my homework, and we'll make sure that we get that raffled off for you guys.
Super. So that will all happen inside AirMeet. We'll see you guys over there in just a moment.
Sounds good.
Time for Book of Experts TV.
Topics you love.
Experts you trust.
Friction-free referrals.
Tried,
Tested,
trusted.